Hi, let's talk about entities, the good and the bad ones, and how can we actually get some help? So when people consider the word entities, when we think about that subject, a lot of us will focus on some scary, creepy monster. Basically, we might have watched some movies, we might have seen some animated videos. There are a lot of creepy horror stories, scary ones, where they describe all kinds of monsters. And usually because, like when we were kids, we've read some stories, heard some stories, we've imagined those things, and our imagination goes it's beyond everything. And so when we are left with the infinite choices, we think of the worst things. But the thing about entities is that most of them, I would even dare to say 90% or even more, are simply thought forms. It's not a scary monster that's going to be behind your back. They will not try to jump scare you. They will not try to haunt you. It's simply a thought form. And each and every one of us are creating them 24/7, the good and the bad. But the thing is, because our life is usually difficult and people have hard time dealing with stress and anxiety and troubles that, we get throughout life, we tend to focus on negative things. We tend to focus on our problems. And some of us, are, okay, this is the problem, let's deal with it. Others, well, we see the problem and we're going to think about it a lot and we're going to feel it. And then some of us have a really hardcore life where there is no time to think positive. When there's constantly something negative and bad happening to you, it's just pretty much impossible to focus on the negative. Focus on the positive and tell yourself yeah, it's fine. I'm dying, but it's fine. It's going to be okay. A lot of people have a hard time with that. So when it comes to entities, specifically them being thought forms and us creating them 24/7, each and every one of us, we do that. It really depends on what you feel throughout the day. If it's stress, if it's anxiety, if it's hate towards someone, if it's hate towards yourself, all of these emotions help us create them, the entities. And once we focus on the negative, once we think about it, it doesn't even have to be really intensively okay, I have this intention, I'm going to create the entity. None of us think about it, not at all. But it just happens naturally. We focus, we feel it, it's there, and all of a sudden, you might have relatives in your space, you might have your classmates, your coworkers, friends, anyone, where in life you have experienced something, and they say this phrase that stuck with you your whole life. It's just a voice in the background telling you you're not good enough, you're ugly, you're fat. And all of these things that we have heard that now are stuck with us, that we keep on repeating ourselves, well, it is us, but it's also you hearing that, feeling the pain from it, taking it to your heart, and then it is the entity within your space who takes that phrase, or it is the entity from someone else jumping onto you. And now this voice within you that never shuts up, it's actually not you. It's entity clusters. Our consciousness is simply knowing. We know things. We don't think about it. Thoughts, well, they usually come from entities because they're thought forms. And it goes in a lot of ways, deep, lots of subjects, but focusing specifically on entities when they jump to us, or when we get them, or when we create them. A lot of them can be asleep. They are not necessarily active all the time, but they're definitely going to be the ones causing you to think about things, causing you to think about negative things. It's oh, life is hard. It's not necessarily you saying that. The entity sees that its life is hard, and it says that. You hear it, and now you are repeating it to yourself because you're misidentifying. It's not yourself, it's the entities, but you think it's you. And they can be talking 24/7 because there's clusters. It's not just one entity, it's not just two or three. There can be hundreds, thousands, millions. And it's clusters of entities. So one cluster of entities will be oh, we're ugly. I'm ugly, you're ugly, they're ugly, everyone's ugly. And these guys are feeling ugly. And these guys are feeling fat. And these guys are feeling like I'm the victim. I'm the target. Everyone focuses on me goddamn. And all of these clusters are stuck with us. They're there 24/7. And, like I said, some of them can be asleep, but they can be activated or woken up throughout various triggers in life. And so the way we have these entities is the way we can also create the good guys. Because like we look at all of these like little negative things, and there's lots of ways to deal with it, but like right now we're just going to talk about the concept of the good stuff. Like that's me redirecting the video. But yeah, we look at all of these baddies, right? Like constantly like, oh, it's just always a negative. Well, you can create the good stuff as well. It's not just the negative, it's not just the bad, it's not just like anxiety, stress, and all the stuff. There are things called like egregores or tulpas, where it is our consciousness creating an entity, creating a being. Same way we do with the entities, like giving them life by focusing on it, by like looking at it, by having intentions, or just by feeling it so much, is the same way you can create something positive and you can program it. If you've looked into programming, you can do everything. Describe the world from A to Z. Every single role, everything, like every rule, everything that happens, you are the one creating it and giving it possibilities. So you would have to think for yourself, if I was to create a being that would protect me, what would I want? Do you have specific looks that you wanted to have? For some people, this might be like, well, I would like more of a spirit animal. Like I like wolves, I like bears, I like, werewolves or something. So you have your favorite animal look. It doesn't have to be an animal. It can be, like a humanoid looking being. It can be an alien looking being, like, whatever you prefer, but you're the one giving it life. So you sort of like can choose looks for it to have. It can be a knight, it can be a horse, it can be something else, whatever you like. But then you give it an intention, you give it life, you give it programming, as in like you are the one creating the rules for that being. You're the one creating everything. And you give it like a role of like, okay, you're powerful and your mission in life as you exist will be to keep my safe sovereign and safe, and not allow any entities, any bad beings that are there to harm me, they're there to distract me, they're there to interfere, to not allow them into my space. Like get them off me. Maybe don't like, if anyone is to enter my house, clean the entities from them, or like suppress them, don't let them show up. And you are the one giving it rules. So yeah, the same way we create negative entities by focusing on it, or by feeling certain emotion and picking it up, is the same way you can create a tulpa or egregore and give it a role. And you're the one choosing how detailed you want to go. It can be simply, again, like a thought form, and it's going to be there in your space and try to show up more. Where, okay, if I have thought forms that are like more entities and more negative, where I'm going to feel anxiety and stress and think that I'm bad, wrong, and guilty, is the same way I can create a tulpa or egregore that's going to be in my space and help me feel creative, help me feel like I'm good enough. Like actually, I can achieve a lot in life. I am successful. I'm beautiful. I'm wonderful. And it doesn't mean that you become like vain or super self-loving, but to respect yourself, to love yourself, to make yourself number one priority in life is very important. And to have someone support you and uplift you and empower you is like really good thing to do. So where you want to have your tulpa or egregore to give you positive thoughts or make you feel good, or where you want it to protect your space, or where you want to give it a certain mission. Like I'm going to create this bird, like let's say an eagle, because I like eagles. And this eagle's spirit, like tulpa egregore, is going to get out of my house and fly around. And every single person it sees is going to eat entities from them. It's going to eat all the entities. They're suppressing the person, making them feel bad. Okay, bye-bye. And the bird goes. And you might see them, you might not. It doesn't matter. You might have visuals, you might not. It's okay. All that matters is that you have an intention and you are willingly like, I am creating this being, a tulpa or egregore. I'm giving it life and I'm giving it a mission. And that's it. That's all you need. And it's really good to be very specific about what you want for that being to do. And then, there they go. You can create as many as you want. Hundreds of thousands, millions, billions. We actually do it every single day. A lot of people fantasize about a lot of things. Whether it is something sexual, whether it is your dream life, where you're just daydreaming and going like, me on a beach with a lovely guy or a girl having a nice day, you have that. But you daydreaming about it, like you're creating. You just created that little reality where that's happening, where there's a part of you and there's a part of another person and you are having fun. And then you left. And that world exists right now with the two of you or with as many people as you've created. Others might be like, oh man, I hate that person. Or you're just like, hey, I would just love to swing a sword and just, going into a fight. And you just see yourself as a knight and you're in war and you're just like killing, slaying people. That's your thing. But you've literally just created a reality where you get a chance to kill a few hundreds of thousand soldiers. And you're having fun, and that is okay. But that reality exists. And there are a bunch of beings, where they're NPCs or little conscious beings who choose to play in that reality, who choose to support your game. They exist. You just created that. So us daydreaming or thinking or visualizing or fantasizing, we are doing that every day. And it is up to you to, hey, how willing are you to focus on creating a being who's going to be there to protect you and support you and make your life better? We do it by daydreaming and fantasizing about a possible life that we would like to live, to enjoy ourselves for a few minutes throughout the day. But we can also create beings that are going to be there to support us, to protect us from entities, to protect us from, possible, let's say, oh, you looked into aliens, you looked into the secret space program, so you want to be safe from that. So yes, you can create beings that will protect you from it. Just like have an intention, give it a specific rule, a mission in life, give it any kind of looks you want, and create as many as you want. We're doing it 24/7, every single day anyway, so why not be a bit conscious about it? So there's that. If you have any more questions where you would like me to go into details, leave that in comments, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.